Okay, so before we get started, just because I know this is the last pitch of the day and you guys have probably been listening to a lot of them, can we have everyone stand up really quick? Okay, so don't knock over my drink, Ashlyn. We're gonna, oh my goodness, you guys are all really tall, a lot taller than me. Okay, so we are going to try to do a couple of brain activities to get your brain going and back online. How many people can pat their heads and rub their stomachs? Come on, Ashlyn. Raise your hand if you can pat your head and rub your stomach. Okay, now switch hands and try and pat your head and rub. I can't do this. No, you're not. You have to rub your stomach and pat your head. Raise your hand if you can do it with both hands. No? I'm putting my hand down because I actually can't. Okay. Last, if you, no, that works.
It's called natural selection.
All right. Last one, I want you guys to take your fingers, put them together, and then make circles going in opposite directions. So one has to go forward and one has to go backward. No, let's wait. One has to go forward and one has to go backward. One forward. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You got it. One forward. You got it. Hey, you guys are doing good at that. That's a good try. Alright, if you didn't, sit down. If you didn't get it, that's okay. Thank you very much for trying.
We'll try it.
I'll grab the tea. Whoever got it, teach Ashlyn afterwards. Okay, so my name is Emily, and I am from Willis, Dady Homeless Services. We are a homeless shelter here in Cedar Rapids. We run a number of different programs. So our main one, and the one that's most known, is our shelter. So we've been around for 31 years. We house 16 single men and 4 families who are currently experiencing homelessness. Our other programs include a homeless prevention program. So we work with people who are in their own housing but can't pay rent or are facing an eviction or need to find new housing in a certain timeline. People who are doubled up or couch surfing, people who are staying in a hotel, people who are coming out of jail, rehabilitation, or some other program. And what we do is we try and keep them from becoming homeless. Another program that we do is street outreach. Our street outreach program goes to people who are literally sleeping outside at this moment in time, but are maybe not comfortable going into a homeless shelter, or there's no openings in homeless shelters. So a lot of times people might be uncomfortable being in a small enclosed place with a lot of people. Like this gives anxiety to a lot of people, being with so many people in a small room. So they might not be interested in going into shelter, or they're just more comfortable being outside until they can find their own housing. Let's see, what else do we have? We have so many programs right now, it's crazy. We have a program where we help people get into housing who are experiencing homelessness, and we have an employment program where we help people get employment at Frontier Co-op. And we have a program called supportive housing, which is longer term housing for people who have been chronically homeless, so homeless regularly. That's kind of us in a nutshell to some extent. Anyway, I run the prevention program, I run the employment program, and I run the street outreach program. And this is going to be my second year here with Iowa Bakes, so this is a continuation of a project that we started last year. So I know this TV screen is a little small, but I hope everyone can see it. So my first question for you all is, have you ever wondered what someone's story is? Raise your hand. Have you ever seen someone and been like, what's that person's story? What's going on with them? So These are 3 people that you might see and go, I wonder what their stories are. By the way, all photo credit goes to Ashlyn right here. These are all her pictures. And she's have you ever wanted to stand up for people who are treated differently? Raise your hand if you've ever been like, whoa, I see this person being treated differently, I want to do something, or you saw something on Facebook or any other social media and was like, whoa, I don't think that's okay the way they're treating them, or I want to help people understand that. So again, photo credit to Ashlyn. These are people who you might see and see someone treating differently and maybe want to stand up and help. Next one. And have you ever seen someone experiencing homelessness and thought or decided that you wanted to help? Have you ever seen someone standing on a street corner with a sign and said, hey, like, I'm curious about them. What's going on with them? What is there something that we can do? So, what I'm asking you, if you answered yes to any of those questions, if you raised your hand to any of them, now's your chance to make a difference. And from that, I now introduce Sophia, who is the team lead for this project.
Woo! Yeah.
It's okay. So I'm Sophia Lange. I'm a senior at Linn-Mar right now. I go to Linn-Mar. And I was
in school.
Yeah, I am. And I was on this project last year. Okay, yeah. So we partnered with Willis, Dady, and last year we interviewed over 20 individuals who were experiencing homelessness. And it was a team of 8 girls. So
tell us what you did.
What did we do? So we started off the year with learning how to interview, which took us like a good couple months, I'd say. And then we'd sit down weekly and we would have pairs. So it'd be like me and Katie Andreessen, we interviewed, all be in pairs. And we would interview and then we transcribed their stories and we are turning it into an exhibit.
Yeah,
I guess.
so the interviews were, one of the goals of them was to kind of understand why people were experiencing homelessness or why they had experienced homelessness. What was their story? What was the reason that they were there? Because a lot of times, what's the main thing you hear?
Substance abuse.
Right? What have you guys heard about why people are experiencing homelessness? Anything? Shout it out.
They're too lazy to get an actual job.
Too lazy to get a job. What are the stereotypes? Come on. I know you've heard them.
Addicted to drugs,
Addicted to drugs,
PTSD,
PTSD,
Dropouts.
alcoholism. Anything else? No? Okay. So these are all stereotypes, right? And I think we've heard them all before. And some people do suffer from some of those things that you guys have mentioned. But a lot of them, I guess, Sophia, what did you find in the interviews you did? Why were people out there?
A lot of it was from something that we call an ACE score, which stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. And it's basically from abuse or trauma in their past that led them to have mental health issues, and it just kind of plummeted into homelessness.
Yep, so a lot of them have childhood trauma that has led there. A lot of them have trauma that they've experienced. Some have been victims of natural disasters. People have lost their homes because of the flood. People have lost their homes due to a fire, a job loss, an illness. Anything can really kind of propel you into this. So what we wanted to do was see what are these stories that actually led people to this, and what can we do with those stories. So
with our stories, we are taking over the museum. It's in the 3rd floor of the Cedar Rapids Public Library, and
has anyone ever been up there? Yeah, has anyone gone to the rooftop in the downtown public library? All right, there's a little museum right to the side of it, and it looks not that entertaining right now.
Yeah,
no offense to the History Center, I love history, but it's just
it's a little.
They didn't put a lot up there, did
they
they?
didn't
No,
put a lot
it's a
up
little
there.
plain. So with Ashlyn's beautiful pictures and a mixture of other things, we're gonna take it over.
Yep.
So, oh, good.
Yeah, we need your help to create a gallery that will amaze people. So we don't want to have it like that. We want, if someone's going up to the rooftop, they walk up there, they get off the elevator and they go, whoa, what's this? right? What's this thing on the side? What's these beautiful pictures that Ashlyn has taken? What are these quotes? What are they for? What is this artwork that's up here? What's going on? We want to draw people into that. So we need help creating, designing, putting together this museum for a big opening that we're having on November 1st. And when I mean big, I want at least 200 people there. So Iowa big. Good fun, yeah, okay. No? She's put up with me for a year, she's alright. Okay. We also want help too.
We're going to be leading tours there with schools, so for people, like, everyone can do this, but planning to go into, like, education, it's great because if you say that you planned and led school tours for various ages, that's great on a resume. And then we're going to, like, the ultimate goal is to break this stereotype of homeless people.
And one more.
And one more.
Yep. Hit the button. Second.
Oh, I thought you meant one more thing.
No. So, and, oops, she went too far. Be a leader in your community. So one thing you can do by being a part of this project, or not even a part of this project, if you just come and see our gallery because you like to support your classmates and think that this is a really cool thing, is to start talking to people and saying, hey, I heard this story, like this person was homeless, but it wasn't because they were addicted to drugs. It was because they had cancer and couldn't afford to pay their medical bills and lost their apartment and had to sleep outside. That happens. I have a client like that right now who has really, really bad cancer. Can't go into detail, and is outside. Why? Because he can't afford to do anything else, right? And I have people who lost a job because they were working at Pearson's, which was seasonal, and suddenly the job stopped a month before it was supposed to, and they couldn't pay rent. So you can be a person that starts going out to your community. You can be a leader in your community to help start break this stereotype. And so just as an example of some of the things that we have that are going to go in the museum, click, click. Okay, who can read that first one for me? Anyone, just shout it out.
My life's not over yet.
Bingo. This was from a client in shelter. Who can read the next one?
I like helping other people. If I were to win the lottery tomorrow, I would love to just do volunteer work. I'm a giver, not really a good taker.
I'm a giver, not really a good taker. These are all people who have experienced homelessness at some point in their lives or were actually homeless when these interviews happened. Who can read the next one? Just shout it out. Come on. Someone?
My husband helped a guy who was diabetic. He gave him my last soda and my last candy bar, but it saved a man's life, so it was worth it.
Definitely. So one thing that a lot of people think is that people out on the streets might be a little more selfish than other people just because of what they're doing. But I think what Ashlyn and Sophia could say that they found is it's quite the opposite.
Yeah, like from our interviews, I can easily say that people who are or have experienced homelessness are like the most generous.
They give a lot,
Yeah.
even if it's the last thing. I think in every interview we had with someone who had literally been outside, they said they'd given their coat to someone else or would give their coat to someone else in winter. So,
It's like taking the shirt off your back, you know that saying? It's like taken literally.
literally. So who can read the next one? Just shout it out. No, oh, you want to talk?
Can I
Okay.
say something?
Yeah.
It's like going off of that. Last year when we had a pizza party for our individuals that we interviewed, and like the people we interviewed would just carry around a pizza box and ask people around the park if they wanted pizza, like their friends that we didn't know, but they were willing to give our present to them back to their friends.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
It was super awesome. Who can read the next one? Come on. I know it's-
Everybody is just one paycheck away from homelessness.
Thank you. Everybody is just one paycheck away from homelessness. So just a little story along these lines. I had a coworker who works with me and got a salary and has a career, and he went on this trip that he had been planning forever, had saved for it, everything went great, came home, got an ear infection that put him out of work for a week, so he missed a week's worth of pay. His car broke down, so he needed to try and figure out how to fix that. And he almost became homeless himself, even though he was working at a homeless shelter. Thankfully, he had a support system. His parents were able to help him out financially, and he was able to, and we picked him up from his house and drove him to work because we're awesome coworkers. But everyone can be just literally one check away from homelessness. So, next one. This one's a little hard to read. Can anyone see it? No. Okay. It says, I'm thankful 12 years ago I was in a shelter and now I'm sending my kids off to Paris. Willis Dady was a stepping stone. So this was a client that was in shelter 12 years ago. So super awesome to hear how they're doing now. And last one, can anyone read it? I believe in you. I believe in your eyesight. Come on. Nope, okay. People don't choose to be homeless, like how people don't choose to get cancer and people don't choose to be addicted. So it's from a client. I think it's a really powerful comment. And these are the types of things we're planning on putting up in the museum, along with artwork by people, photos by Ashlyn. And a number of other things. So, does anyone have any questions about anything? And I'm sorry if I talk a lot. Yes?
So now are you just working on like looking for people with more of the artistic side, or are you still trying to do interviews? Or?
So we're not doing any interviews anymore right at this moment. That doesn't mean in the future it might not be something that we continue to do, because based on the interviews that they did, I've had a lot of people come up to me and be like, I want to share my story too. But right now it's the museum, but there's going to be a lot of interaction with the people who have been interviewed and a lot of interaction just kind of like meeting them before the opening, talking to them at the opening, and just kind of doing other things that really support the community. So yes.
And then is there like any profit that's going towards? It's just all just to inform.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, oh, Ashlyn?
Do you have a question?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh.
Besides, like, the exhibit part of this project, like, last year we did, like, a big giving tree, so we, like, brought in, like, Christmas presents for each individual. We had multiple, like, events just to, like, hang out with them and play games and eat food. And
We
that's
did,
just my favorite part.
Yeah, we did a lunch for anyone experiencing homelessness, so not just those that we'd interviewed, but just a big event in the library and had 60 people.
Yeah,
It was
a
really
lot.
successful. And then everything that was left over, we put in a brown paper bag and took it with them so that we'd have. Yeah. Yeah, and then I guess one thing that I was gonna say is like, something I hear a lot in Vegas, people wanna talk about, like, they wanna be on projects that like make a difference and really change people's lives. And sorry bees, but I think this project for me last year is definitely the one that like, I felt like I was impacting people and like really making a difference in my community, which I know a lot of people want out of this.
Any other questions? No? I know you guys are all just like, I wanna go home. Yes?
How long is this project gonna take?
Well, we're opening our exhibit November 1st. And then, how long do we have it for?
So we have the museum reserved for the next 6 months. So after the museum opening, it would be running the school tours through it. So if you're interested and you're specifically interested in like that education part, or working with elementary school kids, middle school kids, other high school kids, or college kids, you would be looking at contacting those teachers, setting up a plan for them to come in for a field trip, you leading them through the museum. If you're not interested in that part, you don't have to partake in that, or you can be a team with someone else who is interested if you're not like super comfortable with that. But I like to push people out of their comfort zones. So I think I said last year when I presented this that I used to be afraid of middle school students, which is kind of weird, I know, but then I taught middle school. And then I was kind of afraid of high school students, and then I taught high school, and I was a little unsure about working with people who were experiencing homelessness, but then I just jumped into it and did it. And sometimes pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, you find yourself in the best place you could possibly be. So I will push anyone who's like, oh, I don't know, to just come along and test it out, and if there's anything you're uncomfortable with, you don't have to partake in that too. So.